When you speak, people are not only hearing your words, they are quietly measuring whether they can trust you. One of the simplest yet most powerful ways to earn respect is to keep your word. It sounds so basic, almost too simple to be important, but in reality, this is one of the rarest qualities you'll find in people today. So many commit quickly, promise casually, and then disappear when it's time to deliver. And every time someone does that, a little bit of their credibility is lost, a little piece of respect is chipped away. But when you are the person who follows through, when your actions align with what comes out of your mouth, people notice. They may not say it out loud, but deep down, they know you're someone they can count on. Keeping your word isn't about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about living in such a way that when you say, "I'll be there," you actually show up. When you say, "I'll call you tomorrow," you make that call. When you promise to help, you actually help. Your word becomes a currency, and like any currency, its value depends on how consistently it is honored. If you spend it carelessly, making promises you can't or won't keep, people stop taking it seriously. But if you guard it, if you only say what you truly mean and back it up with action, it becomes gold in the eyes of others. This habit requires discipline. It's not always convenient to follow through. Life will throw you curveballs. You'll be tired, busy, or distracted. You'll find 100 small excuses to push something off or let it slide. But here's the truth. Moments like these are exactly when your character is being measured. It's easy to keep your word when it costs you nothing. But when keeping it costs you time, effort, or comfort, that's when it builds real respect. People know when you've made a sacrifice to stay true to your commitment, and they respect you more for it. Respect doesn't come from grand speeches about your values. It comes from the quiet, consistent alignment between what you say and what you do. The people who keep their word don't have to advertise their reliability. Others do it for them. They become the ones others trust with important tasks, private conversations, and honest advice. Why? Because trust grows every time a commitment is met, and respect grows alongside it. This habit also shapes how you see yourself. When you keep your word, even to yourself, you build a kind of inner strength that can't be faked. You start to believe in your own reliability. You trust yourself to follow through, which gives you confidence to take on bigger challenges. On the other hand, when you break promises to yourself, when you say you'll wake up early, eat better, or finish that project but don't, you weaken your own belief in your ability to deliver. Respect starts inside. The way you treat your own word to yourself is the foundation for how others will treat it. Keeping your word also demands you speak with intention. It means you pause before agreeing to something, you think before making a commitment, and you avoid saying yes just to please people in the moment. Many lose respect not because they're bad people, but because they overcommit and underdeliver. They spread themselves too thin trying to keep everyone happy, and in the process, they fail to follow through on their promises. Learning to say no when necessary is part of honoring your word, because a promise you never make is one you never have to break. And here's something important. When circumstances truly do prevent you from keeping your word, own it. Don't hide. Don't make excuses. Communicate honestly, explain what happened, and take responsibility. People respect transparency. They may be disappointed, but they'll appreciate that you didn't try to cover it up or pretend it wasn't your fault. Owning your mistakes actually builds more respect than pretending you never make any. Think about the people in your life who you respect the most. Chances are, they're the ones whose word you trust completely. When they say something, you don't wonder if they'll follow through, you just know they will. Now imagine being that person for others. That kind of respect doesn't fade quickly. It's the kind that opens doors, builds influence, and leaves a legacy. Every day gives you opportunities to practice this habit. Small things matter. If you tell someone you'll be somewhere at a certain time, be there. If you commit to a deadline, meet it. If you say you'll check in, follow through. These moments may seem small, but they add up. Over weeks, months, and years, they form the reputation that people associate with your name. And understand this. People don't respect you because you're loud about your worth. They respect you because your actions make them feel they can depend on you. Respect isn't given by demand. It's given by recognition. People recognize when someone's word holds weight, and they naturally treat that person with greater trust, greater honor, and greater regard. In the end, keeping your word is more than just a habit. It's a reflection of who you are. It's a quiet but powerful statement to the world that says, I can be counted on. And in a world full of empty promises, being that person will set you apart. You won't need to chase respect. It will come to you naturally because people are drawn to those who stand firm in what they say. And when you live this way, not only will others respect you, but you'll respect yourself. And that is the foundation upon which all other respect is built. People often think respect comes from talking well, but the truth is it often comes from listening well. Active listening is more than just being quiet while someone else speaks. It's the act of fully being present with another person, tuning in not just to their words, but to the emotions, the pauses, the tone, and even what they're not saying. When you truly listen, you send a powerful message. You matter. Your thoughts matter. I'm here with you. That message alone can build respect faster than any well-crafted speech ever could. Most people are used to being half-heard. They've had conversations where the other person is nodding but clearly thinking about something else, checking their phone, or waiting for their turn to talk. They've shared their feelings only to be met with quick advice or a change of subject. In a world full of distractions and surface-level connections, giving someone your undivided attention is rare, and rare things are valuable. Active listening requires you to put your ego aside. It means stepping away from the need to respond quickly, to prove your point, or to show you're right. It's about giving space for the other person to express themselves without fear of being cut off or judged. This doesn't mean you agree with everything they say, but it means you honor their right to say it. And that simple act of respect often invites respect in return. When you listen well, you pick up details that most people miss. You notice the way someone's voice changes when they talk about a subject they care about. You hear the hesitation when they're unsure. You catch the sigh that means something is bothering them, even if they haven't said it yet. These small signals are gold. They give you insight into what truly matters to them, and that allows you to respond with empathy instead of just words. People can feel when you've really understood them, and that feeling stays with them. Respect grows in the soil of understanding. And understanding can't grow unless you listen. Think about it. How can someone respect you if they feel like you never really hear them? On the other hand, when you consistently make people feel seen and understood, they begin to trust you. They feel safe opening up, knowing you won't dismiss them. And with trust comes a deeper kind of respect, one that isn't dependent on titles, status, or power. Active listening also helps you avoid misunderstandings that damage relationships. Many conflicts happen because people don't take the time to truly hear what the other person is saying. They assume, they react, they defend, and in the process they miss the real point. When you slow down and listen with patience, you reduce the chances of these unnecessary battles. You communicate more clearly, you respond more thoughtfully, and people notice the difference. It's not just about personal relationships. In your professional life, active listening can set you apart. Leaders who listen earn the respect of their teams because they make people feel valued. Colleagues who listen are trusted more because they actually understand the task, the problem, or the concern before jumping in with a solution. Clients, customers, and partners gravitate toward those who make them feel heard. In every area of life, listening is an invisible advantage. But active listening is not passive. It's not just silence. It's engagement. It's nodding, asking clarifying questions, and reflecting back what you've understood. It's showing with your body language that you're present, leaning slightly forward, keeping your eyes on the speaker, removing distractions. These small behaviors add up to a strong signal. I'm here, and I'm paying attention. Sometimes, the most respected person in the room is not the one speaking the most, but the one who speaks last after they've heard everyone else. When you do speak after listening, your words carry more weight because they're informed by understanding. People are more likely to value your opinion when they know it's based on truly hearing theirs. Listening well also teaches you humility. You begin to realize how much there is to learn from others, how every person you meet has a perspective you haven't considered. This humility is deeply respected because it shows you don't think you have all the answers. You're willing to learn, to be challenged, to grow, and that openness draws people to you. And remember, active listening is a daily habit, not an occasional. Integrity is one of those qualities people talk about often, but you only truly understand its value when you see it in action. It's the quiet force that shapes your decisions when no one is watching. It's doing what is right even when it's not the easiest, the fastest, or the most beneficial path for yourself in the short term. People may respect your skills, your intelligence, or your charm for a while, but the kind of respect that lasts, the kind that makes people trust you deeply, comes from integrity. It's the foundation that holds every other quality together. Living with integrity means your principles are not negotiable based on convenience. Many people can hold their values when life is comfortable, but when pressure comes, when temptation offers an easier way, or when standing by your principles might cost you something, that's when integrity is tested. The truth is, it's not tested in the moments when everyone is applauding you. It's tested in the moments when you have a choice between doing what's right or what's easy. And when you consistently choose what's right, even if no one else sees it, you build a reputation that speaks louder than any words you could say. Integrity is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. It's about aligning your actions with your values over time. If you say you value honesty, then you don't twist the truth to protect your image. If you say you value fairness, then you treat people equally whether they can benefit you or not. If you say you value loyalty, then you stand by people when it's hard, not just when it's easy. Each time you choose integrity over convenience, you strengthen the trust people have in you. And trust is the soil in which respect grows. People watch more than they listen. They may forget what you told them, but they will remember how you acted. If your actions match your words, people start to believe in you, even if they don't agree with everything you say. They know that you won't compromise your core values for quick wins or temporary gains. And in a world where many bend the truth or cut corners, that kind of reliability stands out like a light in the dark. Carrying yourself with integrity also means taking responsibility when you fall short. No one is flawless, and pretending to be perfect only erodes trust. When you make a mistake, own it. Admit it without excuses. Make it right if you can. People respect honesty far more than they respect perfection. Admitting when you're wrong shows humility, and humility paired with integrity makes you approachable, trustworthy, and strong in the eyes of others. Another part of integrity is making decisions based on principles, not emotions. Feelings are temporary, but principles are steady. If you let anger, greed, or fear guide your choices, you'll often end up regretting them. But if you make decisions based on a clear set of values, values that you hold whether they benefit you in the moment or not, you'll be able to stand by your choices even years later. People notice that kind of consistency, and they respect it because it's rare. Integrity also means being the same person in every environment. Some change their behavior depending on who's around. They act one way with friends, another way at work, and a completely different way when they're alone. But when you live with integrity, you don't need to remember which version of yourself to be. You're steady. You treat the janitor the same way you treat the CEO. You speak the same truth in private that you speak in public. And people can relax around you because they know they're getting the real you, not a performance. Respect built on integrity is not the kind of respect that fades when circumstances change. If people only respect you because of what you can give them, that respect will disappear the moment you have nothing to offer. But if people respect you because they know you live by your values, that respect will remain even when you have no position, no title, no influence, because it's tied to who you are, not what you have. Carrying yourself with integrity isn't always glamorous. It may mean turning down opportunities that go against your principles. It may mean losing relationships with people who wanted you to compromise. It may mean standing alone at times. But the long-term reward is a life you can live without regret and a reputation you don't have to defend. When people speak your name, they'll connect it with reliability, honesty, and strength of character. And that is worth far more than any temporary gain. Every day, you're faced with small choices that either strengthen or weaken your integrity. Do you tell the uncomfortable truth or the easy half-truth? Do you follow through on a commitment even when it's inconvenient? Do you treat someone fairly even when no one would know if you didn't? These daily moments shape your character. They are like bricks, and over time, they build the structure of your reputation. When you make the right choice consistently, you build something solid, something no one can easily tear down. People often underestimate how much others notice. Even small acts of integrity leave a mark. The coworker who sees you give credit instead of taking it for yourself will remember. The friend who sees you keep a promise that cost you time will remember. The stranger who notices you return money you could have kept will remember. They may not say anything in the moment, but they store those memories away, and slowly, your respect grows in their eyes. The most powerful thing about integrity is that it doesn't just earn you respect, it allows you to respect yourself. You can look in the mirror without flinching. You can go to sleep at night without replaying moments where you compromised who you are. That inner peace shows in how you carry yourself, and it naturally draws people to you. In the end, carrying yourself with integrity isn't about how others see you. It's about living in alignment with who you truly want to be. And the beautiful thing is, when you do that, respect from others becomes a natural byproduct. You don't have to chase it, force it, or demand it. People simply see the strength in your consistency, the courage in your choices, and the honesty in your actions. And they respond to that with the one thing you can't buy or fake: genuine, lasting respect. Kindness is often mistaken for weakness, but in truth, it is one of the greatest strengths a person can possess. It takes no effort to be sharp, dismissive, or indifferent, but it takes courage and self-control to choose kindness consistently, especially in a world where people can be impatient, stressed, or ungrateful. Respect doesn't just grow from what you achieve. It grows from how you treat people along the way. And when your kindness is consistent, when you show respect to everyone, not just those who can help you, you set yourself apart in a way that people never forget. Being kind is not about being overly sweet or agreeing with everyone. It's about treating people with dignity, no matter who they are or what role they play in your life. It's greeting the security guard with the same warmth you give your boss. It's speaking to the waiter with the same respect you'd give a guest in your home. It's offering a listening ear without judgment. People respect you when they see that your kindness doesn't shift based on status, wealth, or influence, because it shows them your character is steady and your respect for others is genuine. The truth is, people can sense when kindness is selective. If you only show it to those you want something from, it loses its power. But when you treat everyone well, without hidden agendas, it speaks volumes about your integrity. It tells the world that you value people for who they are, not for what they can give you. And that's the kind of kindness that inspires both trust and admiration. Consistent kindness also has a quiet ripple effect. You may never know the full impact of a gentle word, a patient response, or a small act of help. Sometimes it's the smile you give a stranger that lightens their day. Sometimes it's the calm tone you use during an argument that keeps it from escalating. Sometimes it's simply remembering someone's name and using it. These little moments might seem insignificant to you, but they can be huge to the person receiving them. And over time, they build a reputation that follows you into every room you enter. What makes kindness so powerful is that it's not dependent on circumstances. You can't always control your mood, your workload, or the challenges life throws your way, but you can control whether or not you choose to be kind. And when people see you treat others well even when you're stressed, busy, or tired, they respect you even more, because it's clear your kindness isn't a performance, it's who you are. But kindness also requires boundaries. Being kind does not mean letting people walk over you. It doesn't mean tolerating disrespect or allowing someone to misuse your generosity. In fact, real kindness includes self-respect. It's being able to say no when necessary, but doing it with grace. It's standing up for yourself without bitterness or cruelty. When you pair kindness with firmness, you earn a different kind of respect, the kind that says you have compassion, but you also have strength. There's also a certain humility that comes with consistent kindness. When you're willing to help someone without expecting recognition, you show that you're not driven by ego. You do it because it's the right thing to do, not because you want applause. And when people realize that, their respect for you deepens. They trust that your actions come from a genuine place, not from a desire to manipulate or impress. Kindness also has the power to disarm negativity. You will encounter people who are short-tempered, rude, or dismissive. Meeting that energy with hostility only fuels the fire. But when you respond with calm and respect, it shifts the tone. Discipline and punctuality may seem like small, practical habits, but they carry a weight that directly shapes how others see you. When you are disciplined, people know you have the self-control to follow through on what matters. When you are punctual, people know you value their time. Together, these qualities quietly communicate respect for yourself and for others, and in return, they earn you respect. They might not sound as dramatic as bold leadership or inspiring speeches, but over time, they build a reputation that is far more reliable than charisma alone. Being disciplined means you do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It's waking up on time, meeting deadlines, staying consistent with your commitments, and resisting distractions that pull you away from your goals. Discipline shows people that you are dependable, that you won't be thrown off track by excuses or moods. And that kind of reliability makes others confident in trusting you with important tasks, opportunities, and responsibilities. Punctuality is discipline applied to time. When you arrive on time, or better yet, early, you're saying without words, I respect your schedule as much as I respect my own. It's not just about avoiding lateness. It's about sending the message that you are organized, prepared, and considerate. Few things erode respect faster than someone who is consistently late, because it tells others that you believe your time is more important than theirs. On the other hand, being punctual builds a quiet but powerful trust that you can be counted on. Discipline and punctuality are not habits you turn on only when it's convenient. They are daily choices, practiced even in the smallest situations. If you only apply them when the stakes are high, people will notice the inconsistency. But if you live them in the small moments, showing up on time for a casual coffee, finishing small tasks when you said you would, they become part of who you are. And when they are part of who you are, they naturally show up in the big moments, when the respect you've built really matters. These habits also say something about your self-respect. If you're disciplined, it shows that you take your own goals and commitments seriously. If you're punctual, it shows you plan ahead and manage your time with intention. People respect those who respect themselves, because self-respect sets the tone for how you treat everyone else. When you hold yourself to high standards, others are more likely to hold you in high regard. Discipline is also about consistency. Anyone can be productive in a burst of motivation, but discipline means showing up every day, even when you're tired, even when you'd rather do something else. That steady effort over time builds a level of respect that flashy moments of effort never can. Tells people you are not just chasing excitement, you are committed. You can be trusted to see things through from start to finish. Punctuality, in turn, shows that you can be trusted with details. Being on time means you've planned ahead, accounted for obstacles, and taken responsibility for your part in any shared commitment. It's a way of saying, I've done my part so that we can succeed together. That attitude earns respect because it shows you understand that other people's time, energy, and plans are just as important as your own. Of course, life isn't perfect. There will be days when you slip, when you run late, or when your discipline falters. What matters is how you handle those moments. If you're late, acknowledge it sincerely and without excuses. If you've missed a commitment, own it and make it right. People understand that no one is flawless, but they respect those who take responsibility rather than trying to hide behind justifications. Discipline and punctuality also influence how you carry yourself in professional settings. In the workplace, these habits can be the difference between being overlooked and being trusted with greater responsibilities. A disciplined employee who manages their time well will always stand out as someone who can handle pressure. A punctual team member will always be seen as someone who can be relied on in critical situations. Respect grows naturally when people see you as someone they don't have to chase down, remind, or double-check. Outside of work, these habits are just as important. In friendships, discipline shows up in how you keep your word and follow through on plans. Punctuality shows that you value the other person enough to honor the time you set aside for them. In family life, discipline shapes the example you set for those who watch you, especially children. Teaching them that responsibility is not something you practice only when others are watching, but something you live daily. One of the most important things discipline and punctuality do is build trust without you having to say a word. You don't need to convince people that you are reliable. They simply see it in the way you consistently show up and follow through. Trust like that is hard to build but easy to lose, which is why protecting it through these small, daily habits matters so much. People often underestimate how much respect is tied to the little things. They think respect comes from big accomplishments, but it's often built in the quiet moments. Meeting a deadline when no one's pushing you, arriving a few minutes early to a meeting, keeping a routine even when no one is checking in on you. Those are the moments when people silently take note, and over time, those notes add up to a reputation. When you live with discipline and punctuality, you also find that respect flows both ways. You begin to respect the time and commitments of others more deeply, and they, in turn, respect yours. It creates a mutual understanding that strengthens relationships and makes every interaction smoother. In the end, discipline and punctuality are not just about being efficient, they are about being respectful. They communicate to others that you value them enough to show up, to deliver, and to keep your word. And when you make these qualities a daily part of your life, you won't have to ask for respect. It will come to you naturally, because people will see in your actions what so many only claim with words, that you can be counted on every single time. Self-respect is the anchor that keeps every other habit in place. Without it, your discipline will crumble under pressure, your kindness will turn into people-pleasing, and your integrity will bend when faced with resistance. Respect from others begins with respect for yourself because people tend to mirror the way you carry yourself. If you walk into a room with your head low, constantly apologizing for your presence, it signals that you don't value yourself. But when you stand tall, speak with clarity, and set healthy boundaries, you send a clear message, I know my worth, and people naturally treat you in accordance with that. Self-respect is not arrogance, and it's not about thinking you're better than others. It's about knowing you're worthy of being treated with dignity and refusing to tolerate anything less. It's about holding yourself to a standard that reflects your values and refusing to compromise them for temporary approval. When you have self-respect, you don't chase after people's validation. You carry yourself in a way that earns it without begging for it. This habit starts with the way you speak to yourself. If you constantly tear yourself down in your own mind, it will show in the way you interact with the world. Your body language will reflect it, your tone will reflect it, and your choices will reflect it. People can sense when someone lacks belief in their own worth, and unfortunately, some will take advantage of that. But when your internal dialogue is rooted in self-respect, reminding yourself of your strengths, forgiving yourself for your mistakes, and pushing yourself to grow, it shapes a presence that commands respect without you having to demand it. Part of self-respect is setting boundaries. This means recognizing when someone is crossing a line and being willing to address it calmly but firmly. It's saying no when something doesn't align with your values, even if it disappoints others. Boundaries are not walls. They don't shut people out, but they protect the space where your dignity and self-worth live. When others see that you have the strength to protect that space, they begin to understand that they can't treat you carelessly. Self-respect also shows in how you take care of yourself physically, mentally, and emotionally. If you neglect your health, allow yourself to stay in toxic environments, or consistently overwork without rest, you're sending a signal that your well-being is not a priority. On the other hand, when you invest in your health, manage your stress, and create balance in your life, it communicates that you value yourself enough to maintain your strength. And people respect those who have the wisdom to care for themselves before they burn out. There's also a connection between self-respect and the commitments you make. If you say yes to things that drain you just because you're afraid to upset someone, you slowly erode your own respect for yourself. Each time you betray your own needs to keep others comfortable, you're telling yourself that your voice doesn't matter. Over time, this weakens your confidence and teaches others that they can push past your limits. But when you make choices that honor your time, energy, and values, you reinforce your sense of self-worth, and others adjust their behavior to match. Self-respect is also visible in how you react to mistreatment. If someone speaks to you disrespectfully, you don't respond with the same negativity, but you don't ignore it either. You address it in a way that's calm, clear, and confident. This balance of strength and composure shows others that while you won't stoop to their level, you also won't allow your dignity to be stepped on. That kind of steady presence earns respect because it shows emotional control paired with inner strength. Another important part of self-respect is refusing to settle for less than you deserve. Not just in relationships, but in opportunities, work environments,